Piranha 3DD 2012, directed by John Gulager, serves as a sequel to the gory, campy spectacle of Piranha 2010. This follow-up cranks the absurdity, raunchiness, and gratuitous gore up to even higher levels, but ends up sacrificing most of what made its predecessor entertaining. The prehistoric piranhas return, this time terrorizing a water park, but the film's shameless reliance on lowbrow humor, cheap thrills, and overt sexualization overshadows any potential for genuine horror or clever comedy. The horror elements in Piranha 3DD are minimal compared to its predecessor, while the original film leaned into intense gore and thrilling set pieces to shock the audience. This sequel feels like it's going through the motions. The piranha attacks are still graphic, with dismembered limbs, mutilated bodies, and plenty of fake blood. However, these moments lack the creative energy and suspenseful buildup that made the 2010 film memorable. Instead, the kills feel repetitive, lazy, and devoid of tension, as the movie prioritizes outrageous scenarios over legitimate scares. The performances in Piranha 3DD are as shallow as the script. Danielle Panabaker, playing the lead character Maddie, tries her best to ground the film, but the material she's given is far too weak to leave a lasting impression. David Kushner, as the sleazy water park owner Chet, and Matt Bush, as the comic relief character Barry, lean heavily into their over-the-top roles but end up more irritating than funny. The film also features a bizarre cameo by David Hasselhoff, playing a parody of himself as a lifeguard at the water park. While his scenes are occasionally amusing, they rely entirely on his Baywatch persona for laughs, which wears thin quickly. Christopher Lloyd reprises his role as the eccentric scientist Carl Goodman, but his brief scenes feel like a desperate attempt to inject some credibility into the movie. Piranha 3 DD blatantly prioritizes raunchy comedy and gratuitous nudity over horror or storytelling. The film is loaded with shots of scantily clad women, slow-motion scenes of bouncing breasts, and an excessive focus on nudity that feels exploitative rather than playful or funny. While the 2010 film also had its share of gratuitous moments, it balanced them with campy humor and cleverness. In contrast, this sequel pushes its sexualization to absurd levels, making it feel juvenile and cringeworthy rather than entertaining. The comedy leans heavily on gross-out gags and cheap jokes, such as a particularly infamous scene involving a piranha and a male character's private parts, which exemplifies the movie's reliance on shock value over wit. As a result, most of the humor falls flat, appealing only to those who enjoy excessively crude jokes with little thought behind them. Compared to Piranha 2010, Piranha 3DD is a massive step down. The original film balanced its absurd premise with inventive kills, a strong sense of self-awareness, and genuinely thrilling moments. It was a campy, gory love letter to B-horror movies that managed to entertain without overstaying its welcome. In contrast, Piranha 3DD feels like a lazy cash grab, doubling down on the raunch and gore, but failing to deliver the charm or energy of its predecessor. The sequel lacks the cohesive vision and cleverness that made the first film work. Instead, it's a disjointed mess that focuses on cheap laughs and excessive nudity at the expense of character development, suspense, or even engaging set pieces. To the audience, Piranha 3DD comes across as a low-effort juvenile sequel that squanders the potential of its premise. While it may appeal to viewers looking for mindless, over-the-top humor and gratuitous nudity, even fans of the 2010 film might find themselves disappointed by its lack of creativity or polish. The movie tries to be a parody of itself, but ends up feeling like a desperate attempt to capitalize on the success of the original. Ultimately, Piranha 3DD fails to deliver either genuine scares or effective comedy, leaving it as a forgettable, trashy follow-up that lacks the campy charm or entertainment value of its predecessor.